And which characters? Did you want to record any characters? Did you want to do the narrator voice? Did you want to read the whole thing on your own? What did you? What do you want to do with this?
Uh, well, I know for starters, I did want to narrate. That's for certain.
Alrighty.
The other thing was that I figured if I also played Red Hood, then at the very least, whenever there would be a back and forth, there would actually be, a difference between voices, and that way people aren't going to get caught up when they go back and forth with no like narrative pauses in between.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Narration and Red Hood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because uh you said you already read it.
Yes, I have already read the audition.
Cool. Actually, let me send that link over to someone else because I was telling a friend about it, and they're like, "Oh, if they're streaming it, what's the link?" Let me just send that over to them. Okay, I think I got that sent out. You want me to just start whenever I'm ready?
Yeah, I'm currently lined up.
All right. I think yeah, I'm gonna close my door so that the cat doesn't come in here and start yelling in the middle of this.
Meow.
Meow, meow.
Yeah, my cat will undoubtedly do this.
Normal cat things.
Yes. You're not paying attention to me, therefore I am your worst enemy.
Yep, that sounds like a cat. But either way, I will begin. You didn't hear that, did you?
Uh, I heard it while you were talking, but not ambiently in the background.
Okay. I closed the door and she immediately starts screaming. God damn
It's fine.
it.
This isn't exactly high quality streaming that we're doing right now. This is just a fun thing I just want to do for the group.
I understand. I still just like was about to say something and then I immediately whip around at the sound of the cat. The glimpse of red, the flash of stars, and the empty space I inhabit.
Oop, 1 second, I accidentally closed the thing.
Oh,
That was my fault.
no worries. Tell me when you've got it open again. Oh, yeah.
It's loading in. Is it?
Hello.
Hello,
Ronan.
Ronan. Nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
We're just starting off on Gun's audition.
No worries. Take your time.
All right.
I'll mute when you guys are reading.
I mean, we're about to, but
All right. Well,
we
let me
we
know
just
when you guys
get
actually do. That way you can mute instead
right.
of
Yeah.
sharing.
Okay, we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
All right, I'll get started then. The glimpse of red, the flash of stars, and the empty space I inhabit. And yet, I feel so warm. Moving through these spaces in between has always felt soothing. You can never recognize an individual star, but then you don't need to. It's the universe's patterns that are what makes up the tapestry. I could travel through them however I wish, walking, paddling, leaping. But by definition, they all remain drifting, each painted without an end goal in mind. I kick off the nothing, flying into the universe's cloud of colors, studded with bright dots that mesmerize to look at. The space stars feel akin to an optical illusion, something forever in front of your face, yet always slips through whenever you try to reach out to grab at it. No matter how much I move myself towards that dot, I just can't grip it. One day, certainly. Then I can pin it to the inside of the cape with the others. The red cloak around my shoulders floats around the edge of my eyes, another source of warmth in between the worlds. The inside is lined with another universe, another vista of stars mirroring the ones outside. I recognize the ones inside my coat and have stared at them until they've been printed on my eyesight. Every pattern of planets and stars has its own appeal. I like all of them. Some days, some mean more than others. But today, as arbitrary as today is, there needs to be another pattern. Something I can begin to memorize like I've memorized the others. Stopping myself suddenly, my palms hit flat against the empty space, the rest of me following suit. My hands shift around this new wall, feeling around under my arms are stretched until my arms are stretched out. My fingers curl in to form a grip on the edge of this nothingness. I pull myself to the top of the wall, mounting it with a squat, and look to the stars. It's a matter of reaching out for them first. I extend and grasp my fingers at one, closing my eyes to imagine the heat. Warm. I try the next. Barely warmer. I move further, two patterns of stars to the left. Almost hot enough. One pattern more and it burns in my palm. This one. My eyes are still locked on the spot in space, my fingers digging in with their ever so solid grip. With one sudden pull, I throw myself through the starry void, speeding away towards the warmth. The burning from the star courses through my head to my toes, and the lights around me zip past as I hurtle towards the middle of this new story in space. I hope this Red Hood is a kind one. The space fades away in front of me to reveal a forest. The space in between was well lit with all those stars, but here your eyes needed to adjust. I could barely see the legion of trees around me, eyes adjusting to light like a play fading in from black. It's nice to meet you, I say out loud. The world needs not reply. The dirt is nice and firm against my sandals. Mud fails to stick, even when I wander away from the dirt paths and onto some of the softer, grassy areas. Lights are piercing through the upper foliage of the forest, spears impaled into the ground and lighting up the area along the trails. A peaceful, warm summer day. My hand already reaches out to cup the air before I know it. The warmth inside me matched the warmth I felt from this weather, as it should be. May you permit me to sightsee? I ask. I know the world already welcomes me. My legs spring to life and I run down the trail, red cape flapping away and the flop, flop, flop of my sandals underneath me. The openness of the forest makes it easy to dash in, a blank canvas to be painted in an extra challenge. Those beams of light will do. Dodging them will make for some fun. My speed continually fluctuates with my dodges into rolls into leaps. Keeping the pace up is part of the fun, and the blood pumping through me runs as excited as I am. Speeding through the air, sudden tailwind affects the forests. Trees shift, and so do my obstacles. Spears of light sway and waver as the shield of leaves break and reform above me. Difficulty mounts as the series of actions barely have time to register. A dashing leap, a grip on a branch, a swing of the leg upwards. The bottom of my sandals land on a solid branch and I keep going. Trees shake and sway and a loud applause. Shh, shh, shh. The race keeps up through the lights, the shaking branches, the pumping heart. But then, just for a moment, I feel it. A chill runs through my spine with the precision of a hummingbird's. A speck of cold in an otherwise eternally warm body. She's not okay. I can hear myself moments before I crash into dirt. Reflexively, my knees tuck in and my arms come up to shield around my head. I fly, tumbling against the dirt paths and slowing with each skid, but the momentum eventually dies down enough for me to stand. The path towards her lays in front of me. The brief stop ends with my legs pushing me to a sprint, the lights dotting over me freely. I'm not playing with them for now. The world's details passes over me, save what I need to see. Tracks upon tracks, both shoe-like as well as dotted in the shape of a paw, scrambling in desperation in both until they run into the forest and separate. The wolf will be running where he may, but I follow the chill in my spine. Grows stronger and stronger with each moment of the sprint, till I can see it, till I can see her. A small, fragile body curled up at the bottom of the tree, head, hair, and shoulders covered by a red cloak, loud sniffling emanating from under the hood as her back remains firmly pressed to the tree and her face firmly pressed to her knees. A muddy wicker basket lays beside her. My sprint slows as I come up into her view. Hello, I speak as clearly as possible, and her head shoots up. Brown, curly locks over puffy eyes fixate on me. I have to look down at her. The watery, reflective eyes, the muddy footprints filled with puddles around her. I see my image in them, shimmering in uncertain reflections. I wonder if she sees me in them too. I'm sorry you have to cry, I begin. Some stories are much kinder than others. Her expression does not move, misery written clearly on her face. I squat down until my eyes level with hers. They soften slightly when I stop towering over her. Were you chased back there by the wolf? I ask. She nods in answer,
It
sniffling quieter.
it kept biting me, and
Her breath catches on itself as she breathes in to speak.
it almost got my neck.
A hand comes up to rub at her windpipe. A shudder runs through the young girl before running through me with as little resistance. I understand. It really is scary. Such beasts thrive on keeping us afraid. Yet, you're still here, no? You've chosen not to run from the forest.
But
The young girl begins, burying her head deeper into her legs in shame.
it doesn't matter. I ruined it. The basket.
My eyes turn to it. Aside from some mud, it only seems slightly damaged.
I was just bringing something for my granny. She loves getting treats. And
The girl gulps.
the wolf. I tripped in the pie and
Shh. My hand raises up with the shushing, her voice catching itself. You're a brave girl, doing all this for your granny. My hand drifts over the basket, gently opening the top lid. A pie, the top smashed and muddied. The basket walls were painted in a sweet-smelling mix of apple and sugar, only the pie crust remained relatively intact. Are you afraid for yourself, or for your granny?
um both. She lives alone. But the wolves. But
You must walk without fear. This is what you're meant for.
huh?
You visit her often, yes? And you want to keep visiting her? The girl nods with a bit of hesitation. Good, very good. That drive, that, I point at her, desire, that's what you represent. She continues to stare in bewilderment, albeit a focused one. She doesn't understand, yet. You are here to make the visit, deliver the pie. You'll see. The world wants you to live to complete that delivery. It will give you the path, and you only need to walk it.
Okay. And the wolf?
The pair of young eyes look up expectantly. The wolf wants you to stop. We are not meant to stop, us in Red Hoods. You would want to visit your granny, no matter what, no matter how many times you fall. But everyone else, the world and the people inside of it, will help you fight the wolf. In fact, my hand reaches towards the basket with a smile. Opening it up releases the tantalizing scent of a fresh, newly formed apple pie. A small magical outline fades off the crust as I turn the basket to the girl. The full pie glistens inside like a treasure. I believe the world wants you to try again. The eyes on the girl go from squinting sadness to wide with shock at the sight. She did not need to understand fate to understand the opportunities it provides. Even the smallest of souls can run far with a tiny push. Closing up the basket, I've already extended a hand from inside the red cape surrounding me as I squat. And when she takes it, I see her eyes flicker from my face to the starry skies inside my cape. Now, can you dry your tears? Can you walk the forest path? I ask, both of us rising.
Um, okay. If you think I can.
She replies, dragging her hands over her eyes to wipe them. The young girl scoops up the basket, gingerly stepping back onto the dirt road. She steps with confusion, hesitation, but each step makes the next easier. She checks the basket, the road, even back to me, until she breaks out into a small run. And once she begins to move with confidence, she swivels back in my direction.
Thank you.
She calls out. I am not there. I watch her pause for a few seconds from my hiding spot amidst the trees, but, like all Red Hoods who found their path, they shake off the doubt and resume moving forward. The drive has reignited the warmth inside, one of a story properly told. Her purpose was still laying before her. Go. Go fulfill your story, I whisper to her back. I attune to this forest and bask in its warmth. I envision the path she takes, the pace picking up, the steeled heart as she witnesses those wolf tracks again. Feel the awareness of one's fear and the ability to act despite it. Understand the knowledge of her role in the story, even as she has yet to be introduced to its final character. And know, for all her purpose in her grandmother, her fear of the canine obstacles, and her drive within herself, she has meant to meet her huntsman. Bang! A loud, vicious howl is cut off by the thunderous crack of a gunshot. Waves of panicked birds escape the treetops, and I can feel the impact of the shot as though I were right next to it. The smell of gunpowder, the flash of its ignition, and the wolf falling still. A smile spreads upon my face. The girl will have her happy ending after all. The winds blow wildly in response, the trees applauding again. Shh! Shh! Tailwinds make my cape lap around me as I dream, visualize with such certainty that puff! Snapped out of the vision, a small envelope slaps into the back of my head. The wind bends around my skull, flying free in front of my vision. A flying rectangle of crimson lets loose on the vague greenery behind it. I bound out towards it, grabbing at the air. It was as though the world afforded me another game, one I knew I could win. Snatching it out of the air with a well-timed leap, I straighten up and witness the brilliant white fox standing on the path before me. It sits patiently in the dots of sunshine coming from the treetops. The pure white of its fur coat merges in with the light, its sharp red decals and ribbons of the warmest orange being the only definable shapes. It left no tracks between movements, only blinked in and out of the beams of light. It seemed the world welcomed it too. Is this yours? I ask, my arm outstretched with envelope in hand. You've dropped your. And without a word, the fox turns, rushing down the forest path. I'd not been enchanted, yet my legs gave chase without a moment's hesitation. The fox continues to blink in between the lights, only looking back with playful eyes as I wave the envelope at it. A different kind of excitement pushes me after this image, this illusion, to the point I don't realize how much energy I'm putting into chasing it. This shimmering wisp of light, too defined to be imaginary, leaps and bounds down the forest trail. I need to catch it. My course stays until it vanishes. Thin air. But it hasn't won the game just yet. I feel myself spring forward, gritting my teeth as I leap, feeling the forest path give way beneath my feet. The green-white world fades from my vision as the endless sea of stars flood in. And yet the pure white and red fox still remains. You need to run further than that. My sprint begins anew, now moving through endless space. The fox never returns my words nor my gaze. It runs with purpose, always ahead of me. We sprint under the stars as they become bright lines dragging across our sight. Space seems to shift and warp all around us, yet this endless void never loses the light to follow. I need to catch it. My hand reaches for the fox, burning hot as the light fills my eyes. I've got. Whoop! Red Hood's face directly meets the ground, a face full of dirt silencing her proud proclamations of victory. She's quick to right herself and to spit out the loose dirt, but her alertness is immediately turned to her new landscape. Rolling fields of planted grains and vegetables, organized in neat rows. A subtle wind swayed in the blades of grass and the leaves of crops. Distant cries of idling animals and their handlers, calling them over. The sun shone generously, and the colors had turned from a dark, smothering green to a gradient of healthy reds, oranges, with lighter greens of the forest on the field's edge. Tranquility drifted in the air and flowed around her. The light bearing down on her stretched across the lands freely and blanketed from fields to bridges to rooftops to looming mountains. Vistas of splendor swept out in front of Red Hood, never moving despite a rapid blinking. But Red Hood's blinking gradually evolves from simple disbelief to confusion. First blinks, then eyelid rubbing, and finally squinting until she understands her position. The sights she witnessed were wrested from her own eyes, coming from other points in space and not from her own sockets. She was not in control here. Red Hood reflexively turns her head towards the surroundings once more. Nothing more is revealed when she does so. Red Hood's eyes needed to adjust to more than just the light and colors.
Oh? And who might our sudden visitor be?
A suave voice from behind Red Hood asks. Red Hood's first instinct turns her around to face the voice, but an ethereal warning rings inside of her head as well. With her surprise comes the familiar tell of an attack from beyond. A feral growling sound surfaces in her head. In a fashion accustomed to dodging these otherworldly assaults, she throws herself to the side before she'd even finish turning around. A wicked wolf's claw appears behind Red Hood, outlined in wispy red, slicing a large vertical arc at Red Hood and the unknown speaker. Her leap to the side freezes in place as she realizes the other person had dodged in sync with Red Hood. In the split second where Red Hood dodged, she could see him. A well built body dotted with scaly patches, sporting loose hair with an orange to white gradient. Horns, feathered ears, and tail accessorized his looks. Baggy pants and a coat being worn on his sleeves flapped at the air as he seemed to only be leaning on air as it moved him aside. The howl of a wolf followed the slash until it declines in volume and vanishes with the magic. Red Hood's dodge finishes in a roll sideways as the well kept man continues to slide on thin air, dropping himself lightly onto the soil.
That's no way to respond to a friendly greeting.
He says, brushing himself off.
Surely a maiden deserves a bit of hospitality. I feel hurt.
The man bows his head ever so slightly as if he couldn't be asked to give away more. Red Hood only cocks her head back at him. When did you arrive? I could not see you approach.
I simply move with the winds. When I saw someone alone and confused, nothing more. Saw someone confused, I simply moved with the winds. When I saw someone alone and confused, nothing more.
I'm sorry for the attack. The magic follows me. The world means not to harm you.
I'll accept your apology. For now.
The man's eyes continue to look at her inquisitively. Though the carefree grin and relaxed swinging of a hand fan told of a casual tone, his eyes failed to match it. He spoke in a tone like honey and a voice that gave soft reverberations to the heart.
Locals know me as Tanky, and you should too, so long as you're in the Tiger's Fields. What are we meant to call you?
Tanky asks. Red Hood's hands clasped the edge of her namesake item, the knee-length red cloak that surrounds her. She tugs on it, making it shimmer slightly with the stars inside. I am the Red Hood. I cannot be anything else, though her head swivels around the land, do not believe I have met your Red Hood. Maybe I'm not meant to be here.
Huh. Well, Miss Hood.
Tenkey looks at Red Hood, expecting a correction. Silence.
Most people here are meant to be here, though usually with an open envelope.
Red Hood's gaze snaps to the sealed letter clutched in her hand, the same one that made her pursue the brilliantly white fox, only to never be given a glimpse at it after she crossed into this world. She holds the letter up, only to stare blankly at it. It belonged to the fox, Red Hood mutters, to the denizens of the forest.
Oh, the fox. Trust me, the fox is a denizen to someone else.
Tenkey gestures at the letter.
Take a peek. Some messages are more to whom it may concern.
Red Hood's eyes flicker between Tenki's smile and the letter. Only a brief pause passes before her hands deftly tear open the envelope with childlike curiosity. Red Hood yanks out a letter in one hand, a small jingling bell on a necklace in the other. She turns them over, the first hand stretching out to hold the paper, while the other unconsciously spun the trinket on her finger. Page's warm colors and elaborate handwriting spoke through Red Hood's mumbling lips as she read off fragments of the letter. The most well traveled of the Red Hood's eyes narrow, formally invited to Crossroads and to participate, bite of the lip follows, limited yourself to a small corner of the cosmos, twitching of the eyebrow. Many a story your influence has not reached, a momentary catch in her breath, a wish. You perform outstandingly. Wisps of white energy gather at her tailbone. With warm regards,
The God Eater.
Tenki cuts in.
So, you were invited after all.
The sign of entry on Red Hood was now plain as day to Tenki. A flowy right tail forms behind Red Hood, drifting like candlelight in the field's gentle wind, the definitive sign of a competitor, and not an invader bringing God Eater knows what into the crossroads. Red Hood herself looks to be in thought prior to speaking up. Invited, maybe. Allowed clarity is more apt. Red Hood stares directly at the city, tying the bell to the red string around her wrist. Threads are wound tightly here. One should not reach their goal if their thread is set to snap. Red Hood's expression was soft, her smile maintained, but her tone grew ominous. Tenki waits for a punchline. Maybe he relaxed too early. I will test their purpose. I know how the story should be woven. Red Hood turns to look back at Tenki. Her expression lights up in childish joy. Perhaps I will meet more Red Hoods in this adventure. Tenki takes a quick breath, exhaling tension. He closes his fan and points it towards the city, flashing a smug smirk.
Well, performers should test their stage, no? By all means, experience the city's splendor.
I will see you there, Tenki, Red Hood says with a firm nod. May the winds support me.
We'll see.
Tenki mutters as Red Hood takes off and leaps and bounds towards the city. Tenki breathes out once more, flipping open the fan and waving it at himself once more. At least she wasn't impolite. Red Hood keeps her pace across the fields as she would have within the forest, striding across the open grounds. Greenery blows past her, only briefly lashing at her legs. Every stride was long and floaty across the soil. Nearby farmers would only see the long red cape fluttering in the wind, hiding the cosmos over the cape's inside fabric. Her direction is fixed in the general direction of the city, as accurate as she could make after it being stripped from her perspective. The view over the lands gave way from the soft fields to a splendid curved bridge and finally to colder tile. The tapping of her sandals' soles changed noise along with the colors. It was like day and night to Red Hood. The air, however, felt strange to walk through. Worlds had their own atmosphere, but most were very consistent, as though entering a world's veil was immersing in a bath of warm water. Crossroads inhabitants didn't seem to feel it, walking by without worry.
Oh, the new market sale is just. He wasn't going to give up, so I told him. My friend from the coast should be coming in. Don't say I'm getting a drink. Can you?
It took until Red Hood met a giant white tiger to identify the difference. A huge crested gate hangs over her head as she breaches the main city, begins to see the crowds. While most people seemed pretty consistent in dress, a few odd looking figures would always emerge. A golden bell would be somewhere on their body, and they would be staring around with that lack of familiarity in their eyes. Red Hood never had to worry about that with her worlds, even the more deviating tales. But for every outsider contestant she could see clearly, there remained two or more blurry figures that walked unnoticed by the population. And what remained still was the odd consistency of the air. The warmth of being immersed in a predetermined tale was lacking. Red Hood breathed in, trying to pinpoint the sensation. Mist in the air, spider's web, idle clouds of sand and dust. It came to her. Things that separate areas but have no resistance being moved through. Every time she moved through this veil, as easily as peeking around a corner or pushing past a bit of debris, some outsiders changed. Blurry outlines would be filled in, while previously filled in forms would merge back into the world's background colors. Any timeline would suffice to her for now, but oddities only stood out more prominently to her. The crux of the issue was what stayed the same between these worlds. Red Hood wanders through the figures, solid and formless alike. She kept her eyes focused on the spaces outside. The narrator, viewpoint. No matter which world she slipped into, those eyes hovering above her would not change. Who was it meant to be? The grease that began turning the gears in her head only built up in time. She turns to look upwards at an empty point in space. Nobody else would see anything but air, but Red Hood saw the eyes of another, a divine's eyes. So you're the God Eater then?
All right. I really like this. This is one of the first entries I actually read when I first popped in.
Really?
Yeah, I had it
I'm
set
glad to
up
hear
as
that.
one. Yeah, I had it set as one of the first ones to read on stream, but I never got you.
Yeah,
It's actually
that's
really good,
unfortunate.
actually.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you. I'm
So-
I'm pretty happy with both the writing and my ability to read it, but when I first did write it, I ended up kind of reading it back to myself during the editing stage because that's what I usually do when trying to understand if a sentence feels natural or not. If I can read it like I am having a conversation or reciting an audiobook, then it works a lot better. But I am definitely happy with it, and your voices did help, honestly. I like the variation you did with the different random villagers.
Thank you.
Important detail. Important detail.
Very important. All right. Next up, we're going to have Ronan. Did you want to read any bit of your audition, Ronan?
I can read Ronan's lines.
Sure.
The other two voices, I don't think I'm a good fit for. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
Let's see. Who else we got? Because I'm still down to help, definitely.
Yeah. It's very helpful when you have somebody else. A couple nights, it's like, oh, I've been reading by myself for 2 hours and my voice is ragged.
Yeah, I get that.
Here, do you want me to link you Ronan's comic?
Oh, I've got it pulled up.
Okay, sweet.
I'm just not sure about like who the characters are.
We have Ronan, we have Eliza, and I haven't read your audition yet, Ronan. So, do we have any?
Alright, there's Ronan, Eliza, and Saki. Those are the only people who are in this comic.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Saki, the Oni
Bartender.
Yeah.
Hey, give me a drink, bartender.
Give me a drink.
I wouldn't really know I wouldn't really know what Saki's voice sounds like. I can just assume that it's more professional though.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Hello.
What's Eliza's tone then like then? Would you know?
If I were to give her a personality, she's the peppy nerd that is a tiny bit clumsy. She's practically a new recruit for the lab. She has been in the summer league audition setting. She has been working there for about 3 years now, maybe 2. Yeah, 3. Let's go with 3.
Okay.
Just enough time to where she hasn't lost faith in it.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
She's still got the new recruit syndrome.
So, I just want to be here. Sorry, not making fun of you. It's just in the workforce.
Like the in canon reason for why she's a recruit is she used to work at a comic store and wanting to go on adventures like the people in their comics. And then one day she just bumps into Ronan and his lab team while they're just visiting downtown.
And
That's
they're
about
just
it.
more like, whoa, you're like a comic book hero.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's still valid. She's the fangirl of the team.
She's the
Yeah.
heart.
In like her first year here, Ronan's like reluctant to put her on like missions or whatever because he's like, this girl's in over her head. She's gonna get hurt soon. She's gonna get hurt if I actually put her on some dangerous missions. But over time, it actually, but over time, she actually does prove her mettle, and she can actually withstand much of the stuff that the lab team goes through.
That sounds pretty solid. It's a predetermined arc.
Yeah, like basically her weaknesses are she's clumsy and a bit of a goofball, but she's loyal and she definitely has determination.
Yeah, I think I've got a good idea. I can read off Eliza's lines if you don't mind.
All right.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Then I'll
Alright.
play sake.
And real quick, is my mic quality good?
Yes, it was a little loud in that spike right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because I had it. That's because I had it a bit closer to my mouth.
I mean, I figured, but yeah, you sound clear.
All right, all right.
All right.
So I basically just look at the YouTube stream and have it muted. Is that right?
You can have it muted, or you can just follow along with us as we're reading. You know your comic better than we do.
Yeah, I was following
Alright.
along with my own story when I read it, so.
Yeah, I usually just
Alright,
follow
yeah.
along with the stream for the audience that's watching.
All right, here. Give me a moment. I'm so sorry for making you guys wait. Give me a moment. Let me
Oh,
pull up
no,
the
that's
code on
fine.
my
No
end.
worries. No
We
worries.
like talking about characters.
Yeah, it's not so much exclusively about the audition reading as it is just about the auditions in general.
Yes.
For those who don't know, Ronan has been in summer leagues before, and that comic makes me cringe anytime I think about it.
Listen, I thought Wizard Palooza was my best work that I had ever made, and then I rewatched it and just went, oh.
Oh no.
It's basically the same thing. Like when I made Summer Leaves, like, all right, it's a decent comic. I'll at least I can go to bed now at like 4 a.m. And then now that I'm watching it back, I'm like,
Listen, there's only so much you can do when you have enough time to make one draft of a script.
True.
like, bro, my Summer League's one comic was 4 pages long. I don't know how I got accepted.
I actually really like the layout of this OCT. I'm used to the usual 32 random fight format.
Yeah, those ones get out of hand really fast.
Yes, they do.
Oh yeah.
Like this one is like, oh, there's multiple leagues, and you're paired up with people of that relative skill set is based on the judges. I like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
only
smart.
2 rounds.
3 technically.
3 technically.
Alright, I got the comic pulled up on my end.
All right.
Just let me know when you're on the first page.
I'm ready.
Summer League's OCT. The Rabbit, the Recruit, and the Return. We open up on a factory. Not a factory, a lab.
The fabled Crossroads tournament. I remember it like it was 3 days ago.
Name, Rodent. Occupation, lead laboratory scientist.
It's been 4 years. A lot can happen in 4 years. We all grow, times change, and new people start to enter our lives.
Good evening, sir. I got the mail for this week.
Perfect! What'd we get? Also, you don't need to call me sir anymore. You have been working here for 3 years.
Right. Anyways, we have today's news report. The latest comic I ordered, this month's utility bill.
This is Eliza Melwood. She's the new recruit that was hired 3 years ago. And to think she would soon be getting the most important letter in her life. Is that all the mail we got, Eliza?
Well, I did get this weird letter from a little fox while I was walking to the lab. Dear Miss Eliza Melwood, we humbly invite you to participate in the Crossroads tournament. This year, participants may either enter by themselves, with another person they choose, forming a team of 2. The winner of the tournament, of course, will be granted a single wish of whatever they desire. No limits added. We await your arrival, Madam Shifu. This is probably just prank mail.
No way! Eliza, this invitation is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The Crossroads Tournament is the biggest tournament known to mankind. Fighters from different realms come together in an epic tournament. The winner is granted anything they wish for. The possibilities are endless.
That's nice and all, Ronan, but how is any of this actually real?
Let's just say I may have some experience.
Wait, you witnessed the tournament in person? This entire Crossroads event is real and you were there to watch it all?
I wasn't just watching. I was one of the fighters participating.
So, if I were to enter, would you be able to?
If you need another fighter, then I got your back.
If this tournament really does exist, we can wish for anything we desire, and maybe I could finally get answers to what happened to my father all those years ago. All right, Ronan, how do we enter this tournament?
Just close your eyes and say you accepted the tournament.
I'm sorry, what?
Here, just hold my hand and close your eyes real quick. You ready, Eliza?
Ready as I can as I can ever be, sir.
And this one, we both have
Yeah.
to say it the three time. Ready? 3, 2. We
We
accept to the
submit the
Crossroads
Crossroads
Tournament.
tournament. Ah, damn it. Can we try that again? Oh, what the? How the heck did we get here?
Ahem.
Huh?
I will admit, I wasn't expecting you to be back so soon.
A devil bartender?
Ronan grabs the glass of root beer. It's been a long while, hasn't it, Saki?
Sir, where are we? Why does no one look like they belong in the same dimension as each other? And more importantly, who are all these people?
I take it this girl is new to the crossroads.
Oh, her? Eliza is new to dimension hopping entirely. Pretty sure it's her first time. Don't worry, Eliza. I'll show you around the crossroads soon. You're gonna love it here.
Oh, jeez. What did I just get myself into?
Fox. Fox
And
Crossroads.
the
This is
crossroads
Eliza line, by the way.
fade
Sorry about that.
fade to black. No matter what happens, I'm hoping my journey here brings me closer to finding you, Tad.
Hey.
Fade to black and the end of the comic.
Yes. I liked this one. It was a very easy to understand, concise read, and established every character very quickly, and I appreciate this.
Yeah, for those who've actually seen Ronan's first appearance here, this is exactly how he got into the crossroads last time. So he was prepared for it.
So-
I think one thing that I did notice about entries like this or Rakurai's is that they both thrive on the fact of they have context. They at least know the people and can still talk to them as friends.
Yeah, and if you actually go to the beginning of the comic, you'll notice that weird quote unquote golden baseball. That's actually a reference to the first fighter that Ronan faced in the OCT, and also the person he lost to.
Oh, yeah, that was Greg's character, wasn't it?
Yep, that was Greg's character, all right. I can imagine being pelted by a golden baseball would hurt.
and concussed.
Pelted by a golden baseball?
Instant
Ouch.
death.
Instant death. Well, at least not
I
instant,
think.
not instant death, but more like just concussed.
Has the
But
sky
with a
always
baseball bat,
been
that's instant
orange?
death.
Yeah. And basically, what I want to go with for on Ronan is when we first fought in the first Summer League tournament, my opponent used Ronan's Fatal Instinct right away. I want to at least have that saved off for like round 2 or round 3. Because at this point in age, Ronan has gotten better at controlling his emotions, and that's basically what triggers it. See, the lore of Ronan is he used to be a regular pet rabbit. He was captured. He was experimented on to be a killer soldier for a tyrant's army, but he was rescued. While he was rescued, however, he wasn't complete.
I like.
Meaning,
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I like the
Oh, no worries,
idea.
go ahead.
I find it how funny the idea is. Like, hey, do you see that rabbit over there? Yeah, I'm gonna turn into a killer soldier. No, you won't. Watch me.
This was definitely part of a bet.
Hey, I
mean,
bet you $100,000 to turn that rabbit into a killing machine.
I bet.
Fuck you, I will.
Have you been watching Monty
That would be-
Python? Yes, I have, and I'm
That-
telling you, it is doable.
actually, I might just include that in the lore. Like the tyrant that was supposed to be controlling that army, he originally wanted to just have like the specific animals, but probably like a lesser is probably like you can't turn everything evil. I could turn that rabbit into a killer soldier. Really?
No, you
Sure.
can't.
That's
You
the-
sure about
what?
that?
Puts
I'll
his
bet you
hand
$100 I can.
puts his hands on his cheeks. I'm gonna make this rabbit the rabbit from Monty Python.
Oh my god, that's the first time I've actually heard someone make that reference.
And then meanwhile, in like when they're trying to pitch it to the CEOs, have you ever seen Monty Python, sir?
It's like, hear me out. Monty Python.
You're gonna put it up on the
Funded.
cross?
You know what? I'm gonna make that I'm gonna make that a little thing where maybe either in the summer leagues or probably just at the lab or whatever, they pull on like movie night or whatever, they watch Monty Python, and the moment that rabbit goes wild, Ron's gonna have some PTSD.
Yeah, he's gonna look at that scene and go, guys, I think I have an idea.
Hmm.
Wait, you mean
Oh,
Ronan or the
dude,
tyrant?
this character is literally me, and he's gesturing to the to the rabbit as it rips someone's throat out.
Yeah, it's like that Leonardo DiCaprio gif. It's like, oh, that's it. That's what I want my soldier to be.
Ooh, that
That
right there.
that one.
Hey,
That's the idea I tried to pitch.
is it literally just that scene where he's on the couch? Like, hey.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
When he's just a big rabbit guy, it's like, look at this little guy. I will make you the scourge upon humanity.
You
I'm
shall
at least
scour
glad-
the earth.
I'm at least glad there's a different rabbit also participating. That way it's not just Ronan.
It's not just the one anthropomorphic rabbit. There's multiple.
He's
th-
no
I will-
longer so lonely.
No,
I
There-
will
so
admit,
lonely.
52 people was not what I was expecting. Like, damn,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
There's gonna be a
I
lot of
don't think-
leagues.
I don't think anybody was really expecting it to just pop off like that, because even in the end, we still got that mixed like
Like, bro,
writing and comics.
32
yeah.
comic people on their own? That's like the entire launch roster of Tekken 8.
Damn.
That's like a bigger roster than Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Woo.
I'm
The
pretty sure,
movie?
like, the comic.
Like, if you've seen the roster in the game, like they have pretty much every character on there in Armageddon.
Yeah, and I will admit, I may have been blasting Tekken music while I was working on my audition just to get myself hype enough to finish it.
Hey, Tekken's got a good soundtrack.
Yeah, I've been getting myself back into Mortal Kombat too, just to get the vibes.
Yeah, for whenever I think of summer leagues, I imagine it like, or I imagine it to be like the crazy fights from DOA. Or like you may think it's just a person, two people like dueling, whatever, but then all of a sudden someone does a wall blast to the side of the stage and it ends in a cliffhanger where the guy goes off that cliff, throwing that person all the way down like 50 feet. I could just imagine that insanity in the crossroads. And then the people just get up like, it's just a scratch. Keep fighting.
we fall 50 feet, take 10 damage.
Eh. I cracked all my ribs. Don't worry, I'm cool, guys.
You still have health. Keep going.
Give me an ibuprofen.
I wonder though, is there any other quote unquote is there any other normal human beings in the crossroads?
Depends on what your definition of normal is.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Eliza like. Eliza is literally just a human being whose fight style is basically just ripping off moves from fighting games.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Toffee is quite normal.
Yeah, Toffee's pretty normal.
She has a vibrant design, but I'm pretty sure she is just a normal person who got pulled here.
Yeah, she is a bunny girl, I think.
Yeah, she
Oh
is.
yeah, I remember. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
So, but her power is being in over her head.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, not a lot of normal people, but
All right.
Yeah, I'm definitely basing off Eliza's fighting style to just be her ripping off moves from fighting games. However, her clumsy movements make it a little hard to master.
Right. So,
Alright.
Kirby, did you want to read your audition?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I gotta be honest, the writing's not top notch. It's still pretty clumsy, but I'm willing to read it anyway, just so I could reflect on what the hell I just wrote for it at the last minute. Like,
So-
I had a script in my mind, but due to like unfortunate circumstances, I didn't get the time to like flesh it out. So I hope I don't cringed so hard I just blank out of existence.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. Everyone's
Yeah,
always so hard on themselves in these things.
the whole thing is that everybody feels like whenever you make a comic or a piece of writing and you offer it up to something like a public space or social media, there's always that worry about being judged harshly by complete strangers. But the matter of the fact is you're in an OCT. Everybody around you is kind of in the same boat, so we're willing to be more like cool with it, because we're just as equally up there as you are.
Yes.
So, thumbs up, you can do it.
Kirby, I've
So-
known you the longest out of anyone here. I'm going to beat your ass.
Alright, if you need someone to voice act, I can try my best. It just depends on the character. I can do personalities, but specific voices are a bit iffy.
You're good. I'm gonna read over Kirby's characters real quick and get their vibes.
So
From
Adi's.
what sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
From what I remember, Adi is Adi is Adi is powerful but brash. Is that right?
Yeah, powerful for very brash, very
Very Kefla-like.
very what?
Oh, sorry, Dragon Ball reference. I'm gonna guess you didn't get that though.
No, she's more like has like those quirks from like you get from like very prideful shonen protagonists. You know, like always wants to be the best, can be a little over their head,
Ah,
but
got it.
always pulls through.
I'm Son Goku. I'm gonna deck you in the schnoz.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm Son Goku. Pray.
I heard you're pretty
I'm
strong.
Son Goku. I hope you signed a waiver.
Finally, my hardest fight ever. I've won. Addiction. Goku breaks down the door. I heard you beat that addiction guy. Fight me now.
He's the final boss.
Okay.
And Asai is very
Wow.
reserved, very calm, cold, collected. Focuses more on ending fights than just dwelling in the fight moment. But she always still thinks that like she's still like trying to prove something. And when both of those are together, they always um, they're always trying to figure out like try to like I'm trying to explain. They're trying to see like who's the better fighter between the two, but they never really have that settled because it always end on a draw.
Rival.
Blended.
So
I have
I don't
linked
know what else to add
Kirby's.
there.
You're good. I have linked Kirby's audition in the work VC chat.
Okay.
I have the first page pulled up.
Yes.
Already I misspelled Shifu.
Well,
God
just,
damn it.
No, you spelled it
guessing-
correctly. Shifu spelled her own name wrong.
Okay.
Who is this first character that's talking? Is that just a
That's
random
Saki.
Okay, that is Saki. Okay.
Saki. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
Saki.
So what? So we have Saki, Shifu.
Adi, and Asai. And then there's two randos that just talk to each other.
Yeah, I think I can see the randos.
Hey, well, if you guys need help, then let me know.
Alright, I'll start us off with Saki then. I've got to know, Chifu. What's so special about the Fist of the Desert and the Impenetrable Dragon? What makes him so different from the other fighters?
You see, there's
sorry.
always been a clear winner between fighters. However, when two irresistible forces face against each other, eventually they will collapse onto each other.
Tanari 1, the Brass Dunes, Planet Avalon, 6th Age, year 725. A fox walks through a marketplace. Next page. You heard? Yeah, I heard it was a draw. Such a shame, though. Then again, any time they fight, it's always a stalemate.
How disappointing.
The fox walks through scenic scenery, finding Iowa. Thoom. Hey, little guy. Is that letter for me? Hey, where are you going? Wait, come back here. Ha! Now I got you. Nowhere to run. By Mokutan's flame.
Oh no, the one that's speaking on that one is
Oh.
Asai.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I got the names mixed up. What was she supposed to act like?
She is composed.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
By Mokudan's flame.
Huh.
Eyes narrow.
Fight. What do you think you're doing with my letter?
Cease your jabbering, Addy. I'm in no mood for another skirmish with you. I've had my share of humiliation, no thanks to our duel. Apparently, this messenger approached me with an invitation for both of us. A fighting tournament, it seems, but with one caveat.
Yoink!
Hey!
Greetings, Adi Badawi and Yada Tada, fighting other competitors. Yada Yada, fighting other competitors. One wish, accept the terms. Is it you and your partner?
Unfortunately, much to my displeasure in being within 10-foot vicinity with you, by accepting to the terms of this invitation, we will be collaborating against other fighters.
As if! What gives me any reason to fight alongside you than against you?
Addy, listen for once. We've been at a constant deadlock since we first met, and we've gotten nowhere. Perhaps this is something that could help. Perhaps our combined strength and prowess, we could finally settle our dispute. However, do take this with a grain of salt, as I am uncertain of the legitimacy of that.
I accept.
What?
Well,
Why did you accept so quick?
isn't it obvious, Princess? A tournament with a bunch of fighters all over? A wish for anything you want? This could prove to be the opportunity I need to prove that I can be the best. To prove my family of what I can really do. Plus, if we go all the way, I'm more than willing for a rematch in the future.
All right, fine. Let's give this Summer League a try.
Hells yeah, bring it on!
From the moment these two show up here, I knew they had promise. However, whatever wish they wanted remains a secret. They are immovable. I fully understand it. Wish is more valuable if it was never told.
That's interesting. About those two, have they been checked in already?
Ask them yourself.
Ah, so that's why you told me this story. Will they be paying for their drinks?
There's no need. You can put them on my tab.
Yeah, about that.
End of story.
So, you've got a really good handle on your...
Unexpected ending.
You've got a really good handle on your dialogue there, Kirby.
They have a
Like-
nice dynamic too.
I was just trying to like, I think it was at the moment I was just trying to piece together like, okay, like what were they saying? What were they saying? Like I had everything in my head. I had more scenes planned, but like I had to like cut them out, but also try to like weave in more subtle, more like weave in more like tangibly. I'm not sure that's the word.
You had a limited time frame and chose to go with a finished story than one that was so big that you wanted.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's fair enough, but they at least they establish their dynamic well enough, even if they speak about it more than like
Yeah,
act out the entire time.
That's what I
Yes.
wanted to do. Like just act out more than just tell.
Yeah, I understand that, but you still did get it done, and that matters a lot more considering the fact that like the situation with the entrance right now, you're much more
Mhm.
likely to just get into something good. I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
guaranteed for comics, actually. Like, if there's enough comic artists to fit like everybody in a league, even a mixed league. It's the writers' league that only has one person getting cut,
Okay.
which still is a bit insane. But point is, you finished and you are being rewarded with a spot inside the OCT. So
I'm still surprised about that. Like usually like when it comes to certain OCTs like this, like only like a selected few manage to make it in. Like pretty much 32 at max, depending on the
Yeah.
OCT.
In the
yeah,
classic style of OCT
like, it
stuff.
just depends on like how many leagues there are to fit, rather than just like, all right, it's just these 32 that's going to make it in. The others they can't.
It's like, and a lot of hurt feelings and a lot of drama
Yeah.
that spills from that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some people do not take getting
The-
rejected lying
yeah.
down.
Yeah, I know that firsthand.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even necessarily in the OCT sphere, and I've heard horror stories.
I still have my sympathies for them.
Ew.
Yo,
Hi,
Yo,
Hey.
I'm just here to listen for right now.
Oh hey, Speedster. Okay. Now we're sort of off of the pre-written list. So actually, I was hoping we could probably read Misconductors with Overdrawn Pandora. So,
okay.
Misconductors?
yeah. That was one of the other ones that I read first. Let me go ahead and tag them real quick, see if they're in.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you're Detonio?
Yes, we already did Tony. We did Tony last time we did this.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure like Tony was the first ones you guys did. No, wait, probably the second.
It was the first one we did of last time we streamed.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was the other one that you were talking to the first time we took notice of the streams.
There we go. Got a tag in. And especially at least from what I've read of the Writers League so far, there's a lot of strong contenders.
Oh yeah. I've not particularly looked through every single one of them, but I'm definitely liking a lot of the ideas behind just both written and comics. There's a lot of potential.
Any
Yeah.
highlights?
Any highlights for me personally or overall?
Personally.
Personally. Well, I did have a bit of bias towards the ones that I was reading already. You know, characters in the context of who I wanted Red Hood to go against. Things like Vivian for the kind of interesting spectator perspective that she's taken on, or you know, the contrast between Red Hood and Banaf Saj, as well as just the existence of Toffee being kind of like that appeal of like a person still very normal being thrown into like bigger ideas.
I was unprepared.
Yeah. I will say a few others that stick out. I actually do like Kiriata and Quinn. I like their characters just as concept designs, because one of them is literally getting to wear the pants in a cleric god scenario and basically introduce faith back into a god, which has been done before, but this is now in the context of we're going to get you popularity by threatening people with your presence. And then Quinn, the other one, is specifically described as an unwilling immortal whose heart was taken, her warmth replaced with an eternal cold in her chest. That creates a kind of like pseudo golem look that I do like the idea of.
Yeah.
So otherwise, like I do have a lot of interest in it as well, but I haven't gone through everyone just yet.
There's a lot to read. Part of why I'm wanting to do these auditions is to have and I need to organize the streams, actually put in stream tags for the auditions that we're reading through. But
Yeah,
something
that would be-
that's easier to digest. Even though it does make the auditions, like some of the written ones, last like an hour because it takes longer to read out loud than in your own head.
Yeah, like even when I was doing Red Hood, I was putting a lot of enunciation into everything, and I could see how it just gets slows down a lot. Have you've I'm going to obviously assume you've read off your own audition, right?
Yeah, I read that off on the second day.
Yeah, I figured as much, because that one is I think the longest audition.
It's
for-
probably
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's most likely the longest written audition. It's the one just like past 33 pages, you know, like
So, I think it's 11,253 words.
wild.
Yeah. So I have a tendency to get rather bloated with a lot of my writing because it's like I need to set up this and then this and then this and then this and then this. Okay, now we
Yeah.
are.
One of the things I noted most about it was just that you really had to set up the generals, you know.
Yeah. That was yeah. It's like I'm always trying to set up the actual stakes for the characters and try to build everything. I don't like having just one-off lines for characters, that sort of thing. But hopefully during round one, I don't know if it'll get shorter, but it'll definitely get more focused.
I see. I know that at the very least, when you get into the rounds, you'll have a different focus rather than all the things you need to set up, because you're in the tournament now. You don't actually have to worry as much about the past.
Yes. Truth be told, actually, I'm trying to set up. I did a lot of this for the setup of the characters because whenever I want to do the rounds, I want the point of view characters to actually be the opponents. Because I am establishing that these characters are the villains. They are the bad guys. They are supposed to be sort of in the background.
See, yeah, and because that's the whole, that is the whole theme of Nalagrom. It was Nalagrom, right?
Yes.
No,
he
wait,
is.
Baladeth. Sorry, I was trying to talk about that. Seemed more like Baladeth's presence, despite the fact that he's listed as like the second part of a duo. His description really says that he's just going to be hands off for most of this.
So yes, he does not like to get involved in things for reasons that will be indulged upon later.
But he's still like a conscious presence watching through Nalagram's perspective.
Yes.
No, yeah, that is definitely funny. And honestly, there's a lot of characters who are going to have like some kind of spiritual tag along, in both written and comic artists. I think it's one consistency that I found funny, but that's why one part of Red Hood's kit was designed to just kind of be aware of like other presences because of dimensional freedom. So it's not just seeing, the God Eater watching them all. It's also walking up and it's like, hey, so you got a mask on your shoulder. What's the deal with that? And it's even funnier in the context of something like Baladeth, where she's walking up and it's like, that's just a whole other person. That's a whole other consciousness. There's a god following you. There's a god.
Shut up! Don't bring attention to that fact. I'm really embarrassed. Stop it.
Stop it.
Actually, and this is sort of something that be revealed later. He's actually not necessarily a god. He's a dude wearing the skin of a god.
I mean, functionally, it could be a god.
All right. I haven't gotten any response from Miss Conductor, but we can go. Oh, here we are. Okay, there we go. Oh, there's Miss Conductor. Hello.
Hey, welcome.
Hello.
Did you want to do any reading of your round with us?
I don't know if I want to lend my voice to it, but I was going to be just nice to hear read back by someone that isn't me or my friends to help me edit.
Sorry, I kind of zoned out for a bit. Who are we doing next?
Overdraw and Pandora.
Hello.
Overdrawn Pand. Here, let me.
Yeah, it's in the Writers League.
Oh.
Yeah, you haven't seen art of them around yet because I don't have any art for them yet. I've asked someone for a commission, and I'm starting to wish I asked someone else because it's taking. They're like, oh, okay, we'll move you to the front of the list. I'm like, all right, great. All right, so after I get done with all the other commissions I have lined up, okay,
Oh.
I understand.
We've all been in
Oh,
that
man.
boat.
As somebody who had to commission art of Red Hood as well, I put a hand on your shoulder. I understand.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that I have a sketch of what he's done thus far for Overdraw, and from the waist up, it's great. No notes. The legs need work. He has not done another sketch.
Oh no. I mean, you could still definitely use the top half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Writers League don't. Yeah, the Writers League don't technically need references.
Yeah, I just want to have something nice before portraits are made. So, yeah.
I get you. Okay.
Great. I'm just excited to hear my story. Without it being in the context of someone going to all right, are we sure we want to use the word hush here? Yes.
Yes, please.
All right.
Well, here's the thing that I can suggest we can start with while you're here. For the sake of both voicing them and for people watching, what can you tell us in a kind of compressed sense? What's the deal with Overdraw and Pandora? What are their characters like?
All right. So, Overdraw is
Love that hero
right
name, by the
now-
way.
Not that human.
No, love that hero name, by the way.
Oh yeah, thank you. So she is, while she is doing her work and being herself, and whenever she feels like she has the advantage, she's calm and confident, but she very rarely feels like she has the advantage. She is very nervous and very self-conscious. Um, though she is fairly smug whenever she catches someone off guard, which is a little relevant. Um, overall, kind of good-natured, wide range of emotions. In my character profile for her, she just says that she thinks the word for it is manic. Um, meanwhile, Pandora is a lot when she comes up is a lot more reserved. Um, she is constantly trying to figure out what the correct thing to say will be. She is an AI and leans into that. Even though she is a lot more, I guess, human than she wants to let on. She
So
is
does
actively
she speak in
trying
a
to
more
be.
human tone, or is she very like harsh AI robot voice?
Um, it varies for the most part for what it involves with this audition. She would be leaning into a harsh robot voice, usually cold and calculating, but she does get upset at one point where her act would probably break down a little bit.
Stop it.
Uh, but yeah, she would very much like to be perceived as a villain. So, um,
We appreciate villains.
she's probably going to play it up.
I see.
I don't know. I feel like I may have given. I'm not a voice director. I'm not sure what to say.
No, that's fine. That's why I still like asked for little steps, which direction that they would go in. Because even though you don't know where to go in, you at least know where you don't want it to be like,
Yes.
Yeah.
You use those steps to figure out, well, okay, where do I go from here?
Yeah. Overdraw is rarely ever a badass. Pandora will very much like to be considered a badass.
Yeah, that stuff like that is still useful.
Bold of you to assume I'm a badass, and please assume I'm a badass.
Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah,
I could definitely do like the harsh AI voice. It's funny because I don't think I've like voiced one male person, which is
A
funny.
lot of women in this round, or a lot of women in this one.
There's a lot of women in this round.
Yeah, both of them do actively identify as female.
Yes.
We
Drink your respect women juice.
We respect women. This one's for you. I say, pointing at like I'm pointing at a TV screen. It has an overlay for International Women's Day, but it's like completely not the right day. One day event only, and it's just completely wrong.
With yeah, there's a bunch of side characters because the thought process is this is a day in the life in my character setting with them doing their things, and it goes awry, ending in a tournament invite. So for most of them, just wing it. Not everyone even has names, but there's a lot of named people that just I guess quick kind of rundown. Silburn's a snarky ass. Jay Tabor is a veteran. The person he's talking to is, I don't know, probably confident.
I'm not gonna remember all this. I'm sorry.
Sorry. We'll just play it as we go.
Yeah, play it by ear. I'm just like, if you like remember it, cool. If not, I'll live. It's for fun.
All right. So in that case, for main characters, I'll play Overdraw and the narrator.
Okay.
All right. And if you want to play Pandora, then Gun, we can do it.
Sounds good to me. I got my AI voice booted up.
All right. Are you on the round or audition?
Yes.
All right.
On the first page.
Overdrawn Pandora's prologue. Contrast casting. Please go on and on. This beauty in your venom. I love to play and sing along. I love to play and sing along. Too late to decide. My lips are open wide. I love to play and sing along. I love to play and sing along. By Silver Sun Pickups, Mean Spirits in Neck of the Woods. Downtown Madison glimmers in the rising sun between the sparkling lakes, Mendota and Monona. The Capitol building on its hill in the middle of the isthmus is visible from every street. Historic campus facilities are crammed between modern developments connected by an absolute mess of one-way streets. Madison is quiet right now, a mix of people just waking up and finally going to sleep. In the Capitol heat and power plant, the morning shift's coffee is still brewing. A technician looks at the gauge. Todd! Hey, Todd! Boiler pressure is low! Todd? He checks over his shoulder and finds he's alone. The man swears under his breath. Must have had a hot date. He groans and taps the gauge as though hoping the machine just fell asleep. Seemingly in response, the gauge begins to fill with a gray ooze. The man stumbles back, watching in horror as the goo overflows, devouring the entire gauge and surrounding machinery, grinding it down as the mass begins to grow. Pandora! He gasps. He fumbles for his radio as he flees, shouting, Evacuate! Evacuate! 1, 2, 3. Arrows zip towards the man in loud neon zebra print spandex. He dodges one, but the next two slam into his chest, ripping his leotard and phasing through his flesh before smashing into his battery backpack. He stumbles back, yelping in pain. A dusty hard drive falls from his hands. He winces, the lights on his gauntlets going out as he looks up at his attacker.
Draw. You could have killed me.
A woman clad in azure and gold plate armor descends on wings of lavender fire. The wings fade away as her feet touch the ground. I have shot you enough times over your criminal career. If the first spirit arrow didn't kill you, why do you think these ones would, Syllaburn? They just hurt like the dickens. Syllaburn raises his gauntlet.
Yeah, but my suit isn't so lucky. I go through more spandex than you know.
The gauntlet charges up, then fizzles.
What? Why isn't...
He looks at the arrows impaling him, and poking out through his backpack.
You cut off my power supply!
Overdraw slings her bow over her shoulder, letting her guard drop. The Amazonian blonde towers over the man as she strides up to him. She snaps up his wrists with one hand, and fishes a pair of handcuffs out of her armor with the other. I think you lose money on every heist at this rate. Syllaburn rolls his eyes.
I'd rather be broke than sell out. How much is the contract with the Carnelian Group worth?
My dude, they make action figures and toothpaste. This isn't some conspiracy, she protests, sidestepping the question. Anyway, you're not exactly helping. If there were fewer people like you, I could still do my civilian job. But since there are so many full-time villains, we need...
Full-time?
Sorry.
Oh no, is that still you?
No, that is you.
We need full-time heroes. Yes, I remember Captain Puller's big speech. Carnelian does a lot more than toys and dental hygiene, not to mention your agency is funded by...
The handcuffs are slapped on him. She scoops the hard drive off the floor and shakes it at him. Can you stop with this? You always go on sticking your nose in my business. I'm just making a living doing what I'm good at. And you... A sharp burst of static crackles from Overdraw's earpiece, eliciting a grimace. 1 second, I have to take this. She taps her ear. Overdraw here?
Heel, sit, beg.
Syllaburn taunts her, prompting her to yank her arrows out.
Ow! You did that on purpose.
Shush! Overdraw covers her ear and looks away from him. Sorry, can you repeat that? She nods. Oh. She squints into the distance. If I fly over the lake, I can get there in about in a minute. I understand. Her eyes go wide. Pandora? She fidgets with her bowstring, but responds with confidence. Yeah, I've actually been working on something that should solve the problem. Okay, then. I'll link up with the rest of Madtown. Who's on call to... Okay, so... Joint operation with Crescent Knights and Eastside Fire. Syllaburn whistles and snarks.
Any other hero agencies invited to this party? You all are really pulling out the stops.
An ambitious grin spreads across his face.
Whatever this Pandora is...
Overdraw turns to him and glares. I don't know what you're thinking, but don't Pandora is not a normal villain. She's not even human. Think a rogue AI with a stolen nanomachine body. She has been ripping through coal plants across the world, eating them whole. She turns away and adjusts her earpiece. Oh, no, I wasn't talking to you, Captain. Just Syllaburn.
Just?
Yeah, incidentally, can you send a pickup team to the abandoned offices behind La Concha? The ones with the green roofs. Okay, thanks, Captain. She clears her throat and pats Syllaburn on the head. You have been as unpleasant as ever, and I look forward to stopping you again. She dumps the hard drive atop a derelict desk on her way out. Her wings erupt from her back, and, with a single beat, she takes off into the sky like a rocket. The power plant is in chaos. Workers flee as a motley band of heroes scramble to the plant, most focused on evacuation while others battle the tide of metallic gray goo. Titanic limbs reach out from the nanomachine mass, grabbing and ripping at the structure, coating and consuming it, while blobs drip off the limbs, in the form of humanoid drones that pile onto the heroes. Above, a green-armored hero darts about, raining down bolts of energy, cleaving through the writhing metallic mass, barking orders into his comm. Jade Saber here. Focus on containment. Freeze frame. I need an ice wall. On his orders, ice arcs around the building, but crashes into an erupting wall of fire. What the hell? He swaps over to a speaker in his chest. Who did that?
This isn't your jurisdiction.
Shouts another hero, a woman wielding a katana and a jetpack as she barrels past.
I ordered Emberstorm to seal the area.
We were called to assist, same as you. Back off. We have civilians to evacuate, and this is a coal plant. Tell Emberstorm to stand down so Freeze Frame can finish the wall.
As long as those nanomachines are packed with stolen coal, they can't pass a wall of fire without combusting. They could easily climb your ice wall.
As the two hang in the air arguing, behind them, one of the gray limbs shoots out and grips a smokestack. The nanomachine spreads over it like mold, partially consuming it, transforming it into a spawning bed that undulates over the airborne heroes, raining more drones over the battlefield. The falling monstrosities crash into the duo, slamming them into the ground. For a moment, everything is still except for the nanomachine bodies fusing. Then one glob of drones bursts apart with a discharge of energy, the others sliced in half with a flash of steel. I'm not putting civilians in danger so you can get your glory kill, Jade Saber growls as he stumbles to his feet. The swordswoman gasps for her breath as she looks up. She raises her blade to point out a streak of light approaching.
Looks like Madtown's backup is here. Let's hope she lives up to the hype.
Overdraw soars high above the power plant. She dives through the air, wind whistling by, a streak of purple plummeting towards the mess of nanomachines and what remains of the brickwork. She twirls to lose momentum as she summons her bow and knocks a handful of arrows, this set glowing blue. She looses them as nanite limbs reach up for her. On impact, they punch holes through their metallic flesh, and she swoops through, quickly closing the wounds. The splattering goo reforms into gray drones midair, their arms elongating towards Overdraw. With a flap of her wings and another twirl, she fires in a steady rhythm, knocking the nanomachine bodies aside. She crunches her abs and flips around, righting herself. Adjusting trajectory, she spirals around the remaining smokestack, slowly ascending, firing as she flies backwards at the climbing tendrils of ooze. After smashing a handful, she finds a moment to breathe, looking down at the pandemonium below. Overdraw bites her lip and mutters, Do I just fire it now? How far would the radius? A huge hand emerges from the ooze below, shooting up behind her, reaching from each finger a twisted gray artificial body, ready to mob her midair. She looks at the horrors looming above her. Yeah, that's a no. Her wings flicker out, and she summons a white arrow as she plummets. She draws back the bowstring as far as it will go before loosing. The arrow shatters into the air into a full volley, shredding most of the emerging drones. Sheer numbers overwhelm her as one lands on her back, its body melting to envelop her. She summons a blue arrow, twisting to face the ground. She stabs it into her own chest, a tremendous kinetic burst of energy launching her upwards, jostling the liquefied opponent off of her. Her wings erupt from her back as she knocks a red arrow and launches it at what remains at the head of the hand construct. A streak of fire shoots through the air, causing the nanites to ignite and recoil. Ha! Looks like you are what you eat, big fella. Next time, snack on something flammable. Her confident smirk slowly fades as the titanic limbs tear off its burning flesh and hurls it back at her. Yeah, I didn't think that through. Overdraw quickly summons a blue and white arrow, and, with a flick of her wrist, merges them together. With no time to draw, she chucks the arrow into the burning ball of gray goo. A whole volley of burst arrows emerging. They make contact, scattering the nanites and their coal dust payload. The explosion smashes her out of the sky. She eats dirt as drones swarm her. She focuses and her wings flicker but fail, disappearing. Overdraw rolls back as she swings her bow around, smashing it into the encroaching drones. 2 electrified blades cleave through a drone behind her. A hero in white and gold armor looks over.
Overdraw.
You gone.
Overdraw. You okay?
She nods. Mostly. Thanks, Wild Edge. Keep them off of me for a moment while I catch my breath and recharge. I think I can finish this with one more arrow. Her armor fades, leaving her in casual clothes. She stumbles to her feet. Once I say go, get out of here, and move the perimeter back as far as you can. I'm not exactly sure how far the radius is on this.
Got it.
Blade sparking, he dances around the recovering hero, driving back the nanomachines. Overdraw takes a moment to focus, closing her eyes, clearing her mind. Help! Did she imagine that? Looking over the corpse of the coal plant, did she imagine that cry? Did we get everyone evacuated? Wild Edge responds with a grunt.
Maybe? It's been a shit show. Remind me, I am new here. Do the agencies usually fight with each other?
Yeah, sadly. It's competitive. She gets up. This will have to do. Get gone. I'm going to do one last sweep for civilians. I could have sworn.
Please don't do anything reckless.
Wild Edge says.
You finally have patrols with me tomorrow, and I've been dying to have time with my idol.
No promises. Overdraw takes off, acrobatically vaulting over a crumbling handrail, then dives through a ruined entryway, ducking and dodging through the ooze-soaked ruin. She summons a green arrow. Sorry, buddy, but this is the fastest way to find you. She lets it loose and takes off after it. The arrow guides itself through the crumbling structure. It rounds a corner, and there is a sound of glass shattering and a yelp of pain. Catching up, she finds an observation room, now only observing the melting industrial mess around it. Inside it is a man in a suit, an arrow pinning him to the wall. Sorry, she shouts as she leaps through the window. We have to get you out. An ooze tendril suddenly lashes out of the mass and grabs Overdraw by the leg, yanking her out through the shattered pane.
He is not going anywhere.
A voice says. It seems to resonate from her surroundings before focusing in on a single point. A gray body, like the drones, emerges from the goo. This one is different, the skin more flesh-like, its features more detailed, her body shrouded in a cloak, her eyes glowing red. The tendril becomes her hands, dangling Overdraw upside down by the ankle.
Neither are you if you interfere with my plans.
So, the infamous Pandora herself. Big fan of the aesthetics. Quick question, are you gray because you eat coal, or is that just the color of the little robots that you're made of? Both? Is it depression? Are you a metaphor for depression?
You are stalling.
Pandora raises her free hand, and another tendril of ooze launches from the metallic mass behind her, binding the civilian.
I require him for my designs.
A pair of drones in the image of Pandora, doppelgangers, form.
Do not worry. Your death's not required. I will escort you out.
Overdraw takes a deep breath and summons an arrow, a black arrow, and attempts to stab Pandora's main body. Effortlessly, the machine grabs the arrow by the tip.
A pathetic attempt. I am not so vulnerable.
Overdraw cracks a smile. So you mean to say you're not vulnerable to a banishment arrow? The arrow suddenly bursts, bathing the hero and villain in a lavender light. In a featureless white space, there is a flash of light. When it fades away, Pandora is left floating in the void, eyes wide, still holding Overdraw by her ankle. A bit of the railings and ooze that had surrounded them drift alongside. Overdraw's smile turns to a full grin. Apparently not. An obsidian arrowhead emerges from the Amazonian woman's arm as she transforms. The superhero's tall and dynamic silhouette shrinks down, revealing a short, plain woman beneath all the magic and muscles. She fishes a glasses case out of her jacket pocket. Oh, lasted my magic for a while. Not too surprised. Pandora's cold and calculated exterior is compromised, as a look of bafflement followed by frustration overtakes her.
Banishment? Banished where? Why was this information not in my database? This would have changed my calculations considerably.
Overdraw begins to laugh as the two float through the air. It's new. Of course, you wouldn't know it. As to where, I'm not sure. But there is oxygen here, at least. Probably. She slides her glasses up the bridge of her nose with a smug smirk. Pandora lets go of the petite witch, slowly regaining her stoic, mechanical composure.
All right. This is fine. This does not change my plans in the slightest. Go ahead and return to your realm.
Pandora says dismissively. Oh, come on. I banished you, the real you, to some endless void. How does that not change your plans at all? That's at least a setback, right?
There is no the real me. I invested a bit more into this body, is all. Any amount of my nanomachines can propagate my code between them.
Ah, so I...
Did not accomplish anything, no. Aside from annoying me, when we get out of this void, synchronizing with my body is going to make me ill. If it was not for the wealth of data I collected over the last minute, I would not even bother. Let us out. The longer I am away, the more painful it is to reconnect.
There is a long pause. Overdraw has a sheepish smile. Yes, about that. This is the first time I've banished anything living, and nothing I've banished comes back. I don't know if there is a way out. Pandora's eyes lock on Overdraw.
So, you have banished yourself to a featureless realm where you will likely die of dehydration for no benefit.
To be fair, I did think I was saving the world from you. Overdraw responds.
You are hopeless.
Pandora scans the area.
Let us find a way out.
She turns around, using the leftover ooze to rotate with methodical precision while Overdraw flounders in the air, grabbing her arrowhead. Oh, hello. Overdraw waves over Pandora's shoulder. Behind Pandora is a small fox with a red and gold envelope. A portal opens above the realm of the crossroads. Pandora and Overdraw fall through and into the cruel grip of gravity. As they tumble, Overdraw jams the arrowhead back into her arm. With a burst of lavender light, she is restored to her full Amazonian glory, her wings emerging. Pandora grabs onto her leg, her hand in the shape shifting into a cuff to secure herself.
They could have put us on the ground.
She complains. A bell on a red ribbon jingles from Overdraw's wrist, and Pandora holds an unfolded letter. As she steadies herself, she looks it over again.
The Madame of Crossroads, the person who sent this letter, also referred to as the God Eater in the text. I do not know if I trust her.
Overdraw looks down, scoping out a landing site. You say that, but you jumped at the chance for a wish. You practically crammed the bell thing into my hands.
It was the only guaranteed way out of that realm. Not that it matters to me. Just be grateful I did not decline.
She says.
I have no interest in being led about by someone that claims divinity or greater. But if the wish is real, then I may have some use for it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Crazy Psycho Rogue AI does not get to warp the universe as she sees fit. Anyway, I have plans for that wish.
If it exists.
Pandora says, her tone shifting to something icier.
And only if you can work as a team with a crazy psycho rogue AI. A series of labels that is 1/2 to 1/3 correct, depending on how you measure it.
Overdraw clears her throat and changes the topic, pointing down at the man in a red hat. He looks like Staff. Let's get this over with.
Because he seems to match the invitation's color scheme?
Pandora asks. Yes? Look, if this is a game, it's going to be designed in a way that players can connect the dots. Overdraw lands gracefully, letting Pandora find her footing first. Pandora splits into 3, each fragment morphing into a mini Pandora, one following along with Overdraw, the others rushing off in other directions.
Do not worry about the rest of me. They are just going to cover our bases as far as registration goes, and validate the claims made by the invitation.
Overdraw sighs. I guess that's fine, but if you start trouble... The cross guard approaches.
Hello! New competitors?
Yes, Overdraw and Pandora, says the superhero with a polite smile. The supervillain sighs.
An unfortunate duo.
And then the rest is a thank you letter. Thank you for finishing.
Hell yeah.
That was a good round. That was also one of the. Oh, hi, Tort.
Yeah, I had fun with that actually.
Yes,
like
it
that.
was. It was a very fun round. Or I keep calling it round. Audition. I'm stuck with just the word round. You say that so many times. But that is one of the first ones that I actually read. It was one of the ones I had planned for the first day, but I was taking requests at the time, so didn't get around to it.
That's
But
fair.
I thought it was a very fun round. I thought a lot of the banter was some of my favorite, and the descriptions of the action was very good.
It took a lot to get there. And I'm tempted to upload one of the earlier drafts because like the fight scene, the big feature point fight scene, had just a lot of completely different action. I realized that I could not make work in text, so I changed it. Like, okay, so what needs to happen? Let's swap that from her diving to the whole thing to, and like a lot of things got rearranged. And maybe it was all worth it.
It was all worth it. It was. It was a fantastic read, and I'm glad to have read it.
I need to check it out for myself, honestly.
Yes. Okay.
Honestly, when you kept going through the full time heroes need full time, another person cut in. I thought that was intentional, like, and then Silverburn cuts in and takes over the center, and like, I'm like, oh, that's so cool, and then fumble. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that wasn't.
And I dropped the ball.
It's okay.
We're actually almost through the written auditions finally.
Oh, that's actually pretty impressive.
Let's see. I haven't read Octavia and Andrea. As conductors, read Tony's. Animations. Haven't read Have we read Hushi's? We read Hushi's. Yes. Thanatoaster we've read. We have not read DJ's. Severance. We've read Speedsters. We haven't read Cheyenne. And we haven't read Specs. That's like 5 we've got left for the written entries.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll probably pick another written entry to go through while we wait for Rakugaki.
Nice.
Ooh.
The
What?
funny thing is, you know how earlier we were talking about how many entries there were and comparing them to fighting games?
Oh, do tell.
We had something like 54 people, we said.
Definitely in the 50s.
We may have beat Tekken, but we haven't beat Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Apparently that has 62 fighters.
So how are you supposed to beat DLC?
With spectators.
With spectators.
I mean, I'm making a spectator round right now that's adding an NPC to the crossroads.
Oh, awesome.
Splendid.
So if you want to if you want to count NPCs, we can get a little closer.
Who are they?
Honestly, I should check out the page of like added Crossroads NPCs to use for my story sometime. Just like, give some extra help.
I need to add an NPC before the audition period closes. Just the nebulous the dead that sort of follow around Valadeath.
You gotta put Parsek's bio as well. Shit.
Yeah. So, what was the NPC's name?
She is a villain from a similar timeline to my own characters called Sugar Glass.
Oh,
She
okay.
has since retired and opened a cafe that helps people call to their home dimension.
Oh.
She
Oh,
is
okay.
a sweetheart. But like, don't push her because she still has a temper and she still has powers. And for her backstory, since I know it's like a running theme with a lot of NPCs was they won a tournament and then they used their wish to make this business. I'm like, you gotta have something special in you to have the phenomenal cosmic power wish and go like, yes, I would like to hustle. So instead I said that she was a finalist but didn't win, but she decided to stay here and use all the connections she made to make her business.
Hmm.
But yeah, so it's someone that is sort of from my character's backstory, not the same exact universe. And I wanted her for drama, for my spectator entries, and maybe in a round or two. Um, but I figured like, hey, I want this character for everyone, not just for my whatever, because it's just a fun idea for a
Oh
my
yeah,
main game stone call home.
having that kind of like availability to everyone is good, which is why I did program like Red Hood that way. I wanted her to appear like available to everyone because of her ability, but the other idea of just going through like individual spectators as the kind of help or utility to everybody is still very fun.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm hoping that the spectator entry that I've referred to, I will hopefully post tonight. Yet I just want to do another once over the dialogue, figure out where emphasis needs to be, bust out the control I, and punch it up. But that's probably the long and short of it. Um, Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're
Hopefully
welcome.
the voices were good enough.
It works. It had that very much book on CD feel. You know?
Yeah, that was the idea I was going. Please turn the tape over. Just really aggressive evil AI version that turn the tape over.
Please turn the tape over for your doom.
I would be curious to see what you do. Like I understand you're not going to read all the spectator entries out, but Pandora has a lot more casual interactions in the for what her whole vibe is. The important thing is Overdraw doesn't only sees her as a villain. But frankly, anyone else in the Crossroads, as long as they don't tell Overdraw, they can think of her as a friend.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to play up the villain angle for them.
Yeah. Also, I don't see any reason why they would or how they would. Like, if you unless like they shared or something, that like, oh, well, I was like a fucking villain in the past or some whatever.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I actually did their profiles as interviews with them,
Hmm.
and the interviews are canon. They exist out there in some form. Um, there's one thing that was specifically was supposed to not be told to Overdraw ever, and I want the first round Miss X to just casually mention it and see. I wonder how that'll affect the battle. And Pandora will be the angriest she has ever been.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt you guys, but hey, Red Hood,
Yeah.
Red Hood fellow. Um, so I'm gonna be doing your character as well eventually. For that.
Yo.
Yep.
Yo.
You see those little guys up there?
Uh-huh.
Go a bit on the art whips. You see those little guys over there?
Yeah, I'm looking at him. Red Hood's gonna
I'm
become
going to
one of
cook.
those?
I'm going to cook one for you.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I am hyped. And like when you were talking and I got a ping and I was scrolling up like, wait a minute. Hold it one sec, and then I checked and it's just a silhouette.
Yeah, but you know who this is, right?
It's Red Hood, yeah.
I'm gonna cook one of those little. I'm gonna cook up a spreadsheet for Red Hood just in lieu of the little guys up there.
I'm very grateful. I'm excited.
And eight and there'll be eight others that I there'll be eight others too, but they're gonna be from somewhere else, if you know what I mean. And a legendary OCT from the past. Let's just say.
Oh,
that's foreboding.
Probably Crown.
And the best part is I know and the best part is I am acquaintances with the majority of these guys, so
I mean, that would make sense. Like the group that I usually frequent are a lot of people from like center of the universe.
Hmm.
But that's like the only other exposure I've got. But it's still like I see a lot of individuals here and there that are, still in the OCT circle. So I can believe it.
I'm actually gonna
Let me
have to
get-
restart
let me
this.
give-
Oh, okay.
Gonna have to restart the stream
Oh.
real quick. Restart my computer. My mouse disappeared.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Let me